What's up, y'all? I want to talk a bit about the pickup community and why I'm proud to be a member of this community and what it used to be. I've always been proud of it, but like a lot less proud of it the last decade. And while I am a leader in the pickup community, in a lot of ways I'm a product of it as well. Think back to being an 18-year-old and lost and confused and didn't know what to do with girls. I had to learn that pickup itself is a school set and female psychology is its own sort of branch of science. Because up until that point, I had a model in my head that was the way you get good with girls is just get good at life. I thought it was this meritocracy where if you get good at life, the girls just gonna come to you. And I was good at sports and good at school, and I was earmarked for success in a lot of ways, and a lot of the guys who were way less successful than me were getting tons of girls. Guys, based on my motto of the world, were getting tons of girls. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? There's something wrong with my conception. So this pickup community was the search for a truth. It was a completely new paradigm of understanding the world, the social sphere of humanity. And then from there, what you can do to be good with girls and how you can get a girl from there. And the original pickup community was extremely nerdy. There was a few sites on the internet. It was hard to find, and the people that were there were very dedicated, very, very nerdy, and very, very dedicated. There was this ethos that everything must be field and tested. I'll try anything. I want to grow. I want to learn. And that's why over the first few years, you saw all these tremendous new techniques. A lot of them were crazy. A lot of them were just out there. All right. And they were very politically incorrect. You know, shit you wouldn't tell your friends you were going to these websites to learn them because they were not mainstream. But they fucking worked and they were groundbreaking. And maybe even more important than that, there was massive growth. There was massive new ideas coming out. People were trying new things. People were sharing. It was pretty intense and pretty amazing, and I really loved it. And I love that scientific method aspect of it. People just fucking going for it and not caring if it's going politically correct. Does it work and is it true? Now let's fast forward now to 2018, which is interestingly like 18 years later. Now what you see is a very mainstream pickup community. In fact, when you look at the pickup community in 2000, it was a revolt against the mainstream. The advice out there was get a good car, get a good job, dress well, look good, and you'll get girls. We've almost come full circle. When you look at some of the biggest companies teaching pickup advice, they're not even teaching pickup anymore. They're teaching get healthy, dress well, and go amuse yourself. Go get a ton of friends, and then hope that you'll just get girls from having friends. Which is all helpful advice, but like it's not directly giving you anything, and it's actually asking you to be put in the exact position that I got back at those times, which is your life's together, but you're not getting girls anyways, because that's not actually pickup advice. What it's become is like self-help over here, and pickup is this weird thing in between where it's like kind of like a watered-down version of both, and it's just bullshit. In fact, rather than being a search for truth, it's just flat out lies. It's just flat out concepts that are designed to be woo-woo and feel good, or they're designed to be politically correct and sound good, but they're not actually here to get you a result. And why is this? It's because essentially the pickup community has become commercialized. Over the past 17 years, people have realized, and to be fair, I've been one of the people who's taught pickup, and I've seen this first year, and a lot of people have realized you can make a buck teaching pickup in the easiest way, not the best way. The easiest way is to teach them the lowest common denominator, to teach beginners how to get a tiny little bit of result and feel good about themselves. And that's it. The problem is those techniques don't actually last. Someone comes to a seminar, they get some feel-good stuff, they do a few approaches that maybe they were afraid to do before, and they leave on an emotional high, and they'll last for a few days, and they go back to their regular life, and back to regular habits, and they've actually not grown because they didn't learn a skill set. They just got to have better movement a little bit. And then they go, I did so well in that program, I need to go take another program. And they come back to get that high again. It's the same thing that happens with self-help seminar techniques. They feel high from the program, but they didn't actually gain a skill set. They didn't gain anything tangible and lasting, so they have to keep coming back and coming back. So there's no growth. But that's the easiest way to teach because you can do things that are politically correct. You can do things that are shared with friends and stuff like that. Mainstream advice, no one's going to frown on it. No one's going to think you're weird because of it. So it's safe. It's safe, it's nice, and it feels good. It's politically correct. But does it work? Not really. So what do you see in the pickup community? You see a lot of guys who are very dedicated, who want to get excellent results, who want to get to advanced levels and get the type of women they want in their lives. But what happens is they frustrated because they're plateau. They've learned how to not be a beginner, but none of the material out there is teaching them anything behind that. In fact, the very material that's teaching them how to not be a beginner is actually the opposite of the material they learn to get to advance. So it's fundamentally almost impossible for them to get where they want to be. And so the pickup community, rather than be at first, and you're at this level, I want to get girls at this level, how do I do it? What's the technique specific to female psychology and game to get you girls at this level? It's actually then game. Now the solution is, I'm at this level, the girls at this level, take years and years and years to get to her level, and then maybe you can get her when you're there. And by all means, elevating your level is good in life. But why not get the girl right now and elevate the level as you go? In fact, getting those kind of girls is one of the fastest ways to motivate yourself and actually motivate your level. And that's what happened to the top girls. And they started getting these top girls, and that was the motivation for self-help and growth. So basically what I want to say is there's basically two iterations of the pickup community. There's the old school, like this is what works, even if it's not politically correct. And now we have the whole fucking woo-woo self-helpy fucking shit. This is what's politically correct, but it only kind of sort of works a little bit. I want you to ask yourself, what are you in this to woo-woo feel this good? Or are you in this to fuck hoes to sleep? Because listen, if you're in it to get actual results, you need to think about the hard soul-searching truths. You need to think about trying new things. You need to think about things that maybe aren't politically correct. And you need to think about game as a skill in and of itself, rather than watered-down self-help. Ask yourself that. Do you want what feels good as politically correct, or do you want what actually fucking works? I fucking love this dude. So today I want to talk about the concept of validation in game. And it's a word that does not get used nearly enough. And when it gets used in the completely wrong context. Validation basically is game. That's a pretty strong statement. What do I mean? What I mean is this. You've heard it in the past that for a girl to sleep with you, she has to believe it's a win for her. She believes it's a loss. No. She believes it's neutral. She may not, but probably won't. If she believes she's winning, then she likely will. And what does that come down to? It means you making yourself a source of validation for her. And we'll go into what that's about. Making yourself a source of validation. Let's start off with how the validation is used today in the game. It's used as sort of a reactive way. Don't let the girl validate you. Don't be reactive to the girl. And that's a start, right? So as a guy who's never been laid, you're scared of approach, you're scared of hot girls, whatever. Just not being reactive, just being able to hold your shit together is a very good start. And that's the difference between really beginner and sort of like a low intermediate level game. And it's a very, very important thing. And it's what you talk to. Don't be reactive to the girl. Don't derive your validation from her. And that's the start. But real high level game is not just non-reactive. It's about getting her reactive to you. And that's what high level game is. Getting her chasing your validation. So let me explain a couple things. There's another theory that's put out in game that it's just about being a high value guy. And it is about being a high value guy, but that's only part of the equation. That's not the whole thing. So I'll give you an example. Let's say that there's a girl, assume she exists, and two guys exist. One guy is a rock star, the other is her boyfriend. Now the rock star is nebulous and high value. Definitely probably a long hold guy in a societal sense that her boyfriend is. But the girl doesn't sit all day obsessing about everything the rock star is thinking, feeling, and getting them emotionally attached to him unless she's thinking groupie. But she does spend a lot of time obsessing and thinking about what her boyfriend said something. Why did he say that to me? Did he mean this? Is he falling out of love with me? She's a lot more obsessed with the lower value guy. So what's the difference? How is it that the rock star is more high value than what is low value at the very least, but she's obsessed with the boyfriend? It's because he's made himself a source of validation. He's made himself emotionally relevant to her. And beyond that, he has made it a situation where it is a win for her to be with him. And that's what game is all about, really. Now, let's look at the way the pickup is done with that in mind. A lot of guys, they think it's just go up and be high value. So they'll go up and be high value and have a random ass conversation with a girl that doesn't show any intent. That's not going to lead to sex. You can be as high value as you want unless you're indicating that there's a sexual dynamic or a sexual interest. It's very unlikely to go anywhere. So it's great, you had a cool conversation, but she's not getting wrapped up in it. She's not seeing a possibility there. She's not getting attached to an outcome there. She's not chasing. Next step is showing the girl it's possible, but not being a source of validation. This is what most guys do natural style game, where they just do like a very direct, sort of crude style of game do. And what they're doing is they're just walking up, being high value, and showing interest. Now, this will work if there's enough of a value gap. So if you as a man, the value can convey to her socially is like an 8 or 9, and the girl is like a 7, and you show interest, she may automatically see that as a win. That's very, very true. But what if you're a 9 and she's also a 9? But what if you're socially and empirically, if there was a ranking, you're a 7.5 and an 8 as a man, in like the global immediate perception ranking, and she's a 9 or a 10. Now, when you show interest, she's like, well, thanks, but no thanks, not really that interested. Why? Because you've shown some value, you've shown some relevance, but you're not a source of validation. Now, even if at the same level as you, she may see you as relevant, but not a source of validation. Let's see. Say at the level, do something that makes her react. And you stop her socially and she starts to wonder. Or let's say she hears through the grapevine that you have a crush on her. And then she finds out you didn't have a crush. And now she's like, why doesn't she have a crush on me? Am I fat? And now you become a source of validation for her. And so this is why it's so important. Negative spikes, negative polarity in game. I can become a total source of validation for you. This can be done in a lot of ways. It's not just done by negative things. It can be done social proof. It can be things like her seeing you and admiring you from a distance, making a decision that she likes you. But on a cold approach, where you're walking out without social proof, and when you're walking out and you don't have a whole lot of time to convey your personalities, one of the easiest way to do it is to be willing to have a negative emotion spike in the conversation, to be willing to trigger her emotions, because when a girl has had her emotions triggered, she's much more primed to view you as a source of validation. People react to high value people, and there's a converse to that, which is if you make her react to you, she's going to assume that you're high value. And this is what a lot of game technique is, especially open and attraction techniques in game are kind of based around this idea of making yourself a potential source of validation, a potential source of emotions for her. Because just being high value and not really reacting to her, but if you're high value and you're able to sort of penetrate into psych her and give her emotion, then she's going to respond much more strongly. She's going to chase and things are going to go a lot better. And the beautiful thing about this, if you're not a source of validation to her, if you're just kind of high value-ish and you're showing interest, you may actually get laid that way. A lot of guys do, but it was a situation where you're pushing and pushing and pushing, and she'll eventually give in. But what's much better is if you become a source of validation and you actually trigger an emotion in her, she's likely to chase. And when the sex happens, it's not you pushing and her resisting. It's actually a case of her chasing, her pushing, and things go a lot more smoothly. Things are a lot more hot, baby. There's no more LMR. There's no more bullshit. Things are just so much better. So you got to become a source of fucking validation. Making yourself a source of fucking validation for that girl. That's what That's what high level game is all about. Becoming a win for her. That's where your focus in game should be. That's why this word invalidation, which is a keynote word in the early words of the game, it's no used reactively anymore. It's not used reactively anymore. It's not just enough. You have to make her be validated by being with you. All right. I fucking spit so much game. These hoes don't even know. All right.